Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show. I'm your host, Emily Hayden. And today we actually had a little bit of a schedule mishap, so I am recording a solo episode. I was going to have someone here to interview, but I'm under the belief that things always happen for a reason. So I don't know, maybe there's something in this episode that needs to come out that you guys need to hear. So I first want to start with kind of a little bit of a life update where I've been, what I've been up to and where I'm going next. I recently announced something huge on Instagram. I announced that I am moving from California to Texas. It's something that I'm so freaking excited about. This year it's done a lot for me. I think the biggest thing that 2020 has done for me is it's really revealed to me different things in my life. It's revealed what's most important to me. I've never been more clear about my core values and where I stand on certain issues and things. And, that really makes me want to be surrounded by people who share those same similar core values and beliefs. And it's also shown me just what's really most important in life. I've lived in California for almost 7 years now, away from my family, and I have a huge family. And, those years were so beautiful, and I've grown so much as a person. I would never replace it. I would never go back and change, my time in California. But 2020 has, you guys know how it's been. And here in California, things have changed quite a lot. And I would say it was actually in about June that I started to kind of sense, I was like, I feel like my time in California may be done soon. And it was such a weird feeling for me to start feeling that. But I just kind of allowed that feeling to sit there. And I knew that if the time came for me to move, that I would be totally open to it. That's one thing that I've learned to do. People would always ask, would you ever move back to Texas? And I would always say never, but I don't desire to right now. I'll go wherever my life takes me. And I've learned just to be really open to where life takes you, because sometimes life takes a hard left and you never saw it coming. But sometimes that left ends up being so beautiful and you would have never known it. You would have never planned that for yourself. But by taking that left and going wherever the world ends up taking you, it ends up being such a beautiful journey. So this last month I have been traveling. I was in Texas from Halloween until, I don't know, a month and a half later. And I really got to spend quality time with my family. Normally when I'm there, I am, quick 3-4 day trip. And so it's how can I see 6 siblings, 11 nieces and nephews, and go anywhere past surface level visits and conversation and get photo shoots and video shoots. And I'm always working. It's a lot. So by having more time, I was able to really be there for all the little moments that you don't even realize you're missing when you're not there. For example, I would work all day, I would go to the gym at night, and by 7 p.m. I would, stop by my sisters to just say hi real quick, the one who has 6 kids. And I would get to see them, and they're all laughing and playing in the front yard, and they come up and hug me, and then they go scream for no reason. And it's just all the cutest, most precious moments. And it was really clear as soon as I went for this last trip to Texas that that's where my heart is 100%. No matter what's going on in the world, if I have my family and the people that I love around me, that's really what matters most to me. So I'm beyond excited for this next phase in my life. I feel this whole California experience has been one of the most incredible experiences. I can never say thank you enough to California itself, to the beautiful nature and the ocean and all the reasons why I moved here. I'm so thankful for it. There have been a lot of negative things that have been occurring in California as well that I could, do a whole video on, which maybe I will on my YouTube channel eventually, do it with a life update kind of thing. There's definitely realistic reasons why I'm moving as well, the taxes and the violence and all these things that have just made it a little bit unenjoyable for a single woman living alone in LA. It's not as enjoyable as it used to be. So yeah, there's a lot of real reasons, and then there's just the family reasons as well. But I'm excited to be moving. That official move will be coming within the next few months or so. So I'm excited to start the new year in Texas. So shout out to everyone in Texas. I can't wait to see you guys. For this episode, I wanted to dive into 5 of the things that I know will really change your life. The number one thing that I would say is consistency to a program and setting and keeping commitments to yourself. So I want you to just think on 2020, and I want you to look and reflect on how you personally handled 2020. And just so you know, do it without judgment. Just observe. Be an observer of how you handled what this year threw your way. and just realize that we can never create the perfect plan going forward, but what we can do is figure out what is in our control and how can we optimize our every day that we are gifted, because not every single day does everybody wake up. You know, you're watching this and you were gifted life. You were gifted today. So I believe that because of that you still have some sort of purpose here on earth. So for you to be able to understand that and then accept that as your personal responsibility to then go and live out that purpose means that you got to live your life intentionally. You can't just go throughout life, like a pinball bouncing around and around to thing to thing to thing. You really need to have a clear direction. You need to have clarity in your life, and you need to have self-confidence. You need to have self-awareness. You need to have self-worth. So I look at, how do we build those things? How do we start building those things in your character? And I think the number one way that we can start to do that is through consistency to something that is difficult, pushing yourself, challenging yourself. I know that for me, the most amount of growth that I've had in my life, it always comes from really hard things. I love doing hard things. I love challenging myself. I love pushing myself. And it's because I know that in those moments, I'm gaining invaluable lessons and just things that I would never gain from staying comfortable. So I would ask yourself if you are challenging yourself. And if not, figure out a way to challenge yourself. I think one of the easiest ways to do that is through health and fitness. Look at your health and fitness journey, even if it's home workouts with bands, workouts in the park, workouts at home, workouts at the gym, however you have to get it done. Figure out a way to get it done and start challenging yourself. Challenge yourself with your nutrition. I've been lucky enough to talk to people from every single walk of life, and even the most successful people who had periods of times where they were very successful in their business, but yet they were not paying attention to their health and fitness. They will tell you every single thing started to improve as soon as they focused on their health and fitness. So I would really encourage everybody to look into that for yourself and to challenge yourself really, really just further than you've ever gone. Because if you'll do that and you'll stay consistent to that, you'll reach this different level of you that you didn't even realize was there. I think about some of the hardest moments that I had during prep, and the moments where you want to quit, the moments where you want to give in, the moments where you feel like, is it even worth it? You start questioning everything. Like, why am I doing this? I'm doing this to myself. Why am I making myself go through this? But yet, if you'll just push through those moments and push past that little threshold, what you get on the other side of it is like this, I always say it's like a superpower. I literally feel like I become this like superhuman in every single prep that I do, because there's just like this, it's not even just this physical strength that you gain, it's the energy. So you have to ask yourself, like, what kind of energy are you creating in your life? Are you staying in the same energy that you've always known? Are you operating at a level of the same patterns and the same, cycles that you've always been in? Or are you pushing yourself for more? Because when you push yourself for more, there's a momentum that you gain. And that momentum is like, it's actually intoxicating. I get chills even just thinking about it and get excited talking about it, because it's like an energy that will push you to levels that you didn't know was there. And I think that the more that you can push for, every time you push for that, you unlock this new version of yourself that then it brings you this self-awareness to yourself and to people around you that you didn't even know, like, oh, I really like this thing in my life, or I don't like this thing or these people in my life. It unlocks new levels of yourself that you didn't realize was there. So consistency to a program. I don't care what it is. I don't care what the challenge is that you decide, to have for yourself, but I really want you to, one, decide on the challenge, and then two, be consistent with it every single day. No, like, okay, 5 days a week, I'm going to be on it. I'm going to reward myself for 2 days a week. That's how you stay stuck. That's how you stay in the same pattern, the same cycle that you've always been in. You have to get out of that. And you have to say 7 out of 7 days, every single day, I'm going to do this. And just push yourself for that. The second way that I would say is effective time and energy management. Now, I talk a lot about this, and I've talked about it before. This is one of the number one things that I talk about in my Evolve X program, which is a fitness and health lifestyle mindset mentorship that starts on January 1st, 2021. And there's a reason why I harp on this so much, and it's because a lot of people weren't taught time management, so they don't know how to effectively manage their time. And here's what it is. It's not about having the perfect schedule. It's about understanding what kind of energy you're taking into the time that you allow for everything that needs to get done. So let's say that, you have a really busy day coming ahead, and you have things that are more creative, things that are more physical, and things that are pretty brainless to do. By you being super aware to your own energy and noticing like when you have the best energy to train, when you have the best energy to create, when you have the best energy to maybe you have clients, and you have phone calls, when you have the best energy to fully show up for them. By being able to understand and be aware to your energy, you're able to then manage your time in an effective way that allows you to show up your best, not just for yourself, but also for other people. So one of the top, I guess tips that I have for this is Google Calendar. Google Calendar will help you just in a really realistic way, make sure that you can have time for every single thing that you have going on throughout the day. There's going to be some people that thrive off of listing out every single thing that they do throughout the day. Good for you. You're the type A, you're the, super organized, super dedicated, and that's awesome. Some of you get anxiety just thinking about that. So I don't suggest that. I suggest for everyone, though, that the minimum that you do is go ahead and plug in your non-negotiables. For example, if you have a doctor's appointment, if you have an interview, if you have some sort of like appointment that that you can't miss, plug those things in. And then what you want to do every single day is write a list of the other things that you need to do in the like non-negotiable times, meaning like let's say that there's an errand that you've been putting off, or there's something you need to do for your business that you keep just putting off, or some email you need to get to. Maybe you're not writing in that at 3:10 you're getting to this email, but that like after you've done your creative work, after you've done your training, that there's a list of 5 things that you then need to get to. So work on effective time and energy management. With energy management, one of the best things you can do is just check in with yourself and get really self-aware as to, when you're sitting down podcasting, are you just tired and unfocused and words aren't flowing? If so, do you need to change the time that you're podcasting? Do you need to up your caffeine intake on the real? Do you need to get better sleep? Like really pay attention to these things. And, I will also mention sleep. Sleep is a major factor. If you're not getting quality sleep, then you're not going to train effectively. You're not going to communicate effectively. You're not going to feel your best. I noticed that I am very susceptible to getting discouraged. And I guess discouraged is just the best word. Very discouraged. Like when I don't have enough sleep, I'm like, everything feels so much harder, when in reality, it's really not. I just need a better night's sleep. So make sure that you guys are getting good quality sleep in. I think one of the best things for that is to have a nighttime routine. A few things that you could do in your nighttime routine that have really helped me are to limit phone usage an hour before bed. I always read before bed if I can, because reading puts me to sleep. I don't count that as my actual reading. If I really want to read and soak in the information, I'll do that at another time. But reading it allows me to focus on something, especially if my brain can't turn off, and then it kind of tires me out. So if you don't have a nighttime routine, start getting into that. And you guys, I know that we're about to take on 2020, and that's why I want to share these things with you, because truthfully, these things have just really helped me in my life. So I think the more that I can pass on to you and the more that you can implement into your life, the better day, the better week, the better year that you can have. And as we jump into this new year, don't view it as, I need to set all these New Year's resolutions. I need to accomplish all these major things. No, start with today. You literally only get one day at a time. So start looking at it as every single day is the new year. Look at it that way. And I think when I started to make that switch for myself, I stopped creating these unrealistic goals that I never seemed to really accomplish by the end of the year. And what I did do is I started to make I guess I got much more traction when I started to finally focus on one day at a time. If you can just optimize today, like what do you need to do to realistically optimize today? Even as you're watching this podcast right now, you're probably like, okay, I need, I have all this list of things you need to do. Scratch all of that. What can you do just for the remainder of today so that you can optimize today and feel like you've made even just a little bit of progress for today? And that's one of the things that I really suggest is every single day when you're making your list, don't just make a list of all the X, Y, and Z things that you need to do. Really look at it from a standpoint of, if everything else goes wrong for today, what are the few things that I can do and I will feel like I've made even 1% of progress? Just 1% of progress can sometimes make all the difference. I know for myself, if I go through a whole list of things and I've gotten like 30 things done, yet I didn't get the most important things done, I'll still feel like a failure. So if you're somebody that struggles with that, or if you're somebody that, you're really trying your best and you don't know why every single day you feel a little let down, maybe it's because you're not prioritizing correctly. So within your time management and your energy management, learn to also prioritize which things are the no matter what, these things need to get done, and the other things that realistically will always be there tomorrow. I know there's a lot of people listening that you run your own business, you're starting your own business, maybe you work for yourself, or you have some sort of freedom or control over the things that you do. Sometimes our work literally never ends. And I know it. I was in bed last night after a 10-hour trip writing emails that technically those did have to get done before this morning. But there's always this cutoff. You have to give yourself some sort of healthy boundary. And that's one of the things that I wanted to mention as well, is creating healthy boundaries. And when I say that, a lot of people think with other people. And while those are so important, and I think they're definitely something that you need to do, a lot of people fail to create healthy boundaries for themselves. These could also be referred to as your personal commitments, maybe your own rules that you create for yourself. I love having these. An example of a healthy boundary could be, no phone after 9 p.m. if your bedtime is 10 p.m. We're all adults here. You can create your own rules. You can create your own bedtime. You can do whatever you want. But truthfully, if looking at your life, you realize that you're stressed out, you're anxious, you're feeling less than, you're feeling, like you're comparing yourself to other people, you don't know why you can't sleep, and yet you're on your phone 24/7, you're scrolling 24/7, then by creating this healthy boundary of, you know what, I'm going to create this boundary for myself, no phone after, at 9 p.m. at night. Do that, create that healthy boundary for yourself, and then, reflect on, is this working for me? That's what's great, is as you guys create these healthy boundaries within yourself or for other people, you can always reflect and ask, does this work for me? And if it doesn't work for you, change it. I recently spoke on my Instagram about creating healthy boundaries within friendships and cultivating a community and friendships. And this is actually my next point is, one thing I think that will really help your life and help you throughout 2021 is cultivating community. I think it's really important not to focus on the number of people that you can be connected to, but on the quality of people that you can be connected to. And I think that it starts with yourself. So I think first and foremost, you have to be brutally honest, and you cannot be brutally honest with other people if you're not first being brutally honest with yourself. And that's why I think that most of our journeys in this personal development type of world, fitness world, whatever it is, it starts with ourselves, because we first have to be self-aware. We first have to be self-confident, so we have to trust ourselves, we have to know ourselves in order to bring that to a new situation, whether it's friendships or relationships or whatever. So first start with yourself, but then secondly, within your friendships, I've shared before about being just brutally honest with your friends. And I think that when you start to do that, a few things will happen. And a few of you guys have shared your stories with me as well, how you started to do that and then you actually lost a few friends because of it. I would say that you lost nothing, because for me, if a friend is brutally honest with me, even if I don't like it, even if I don't agree with it, I look at them and I'm like, man, I really respect that. And that's the kind of friendship that you want. You want the kind of friend that can say, I don't agree with you, or I don't really like that, or whatever, but I can really respect you for being honest about it. That's the kind of friendship that you want, because people are so scared these days to lose people in their life, not realizing that they never had them in the first place. Truthfully. And think about even all the haters online and things like that. People are like, oh, if I speak up and I say what I believe in, or I stand on my core values and I really speak about who I really am inside, I might lose people. You lose nothing. What are you trying to do by gaining the approval of people that don't really actually love or appreciate who you actually are? That's one thing you have to realize is when you are trying to appease the masses, when you are trying to gain everyone's approval, you really gain nothing, and you're actually losing your authenticity. You're losing your genuine self. So ask yourself, check yourself. Am I striving for the approval of other people? Am I striving to hold up an appearance that I could never actually hold up, in person? And maybe some of you are in person trying to hold up that appearance. That's exhausting. That requires so much energy. So just really get real with yourself and say, how honest am I being with myself? How honest am I being with the people around me? How honest am I being with my following? Because I will tell you, just from personal experience, I would rather be the fullest and truest expression of myself and lose, quote unquote, people around me and gain the real ones than to, never be my fullest self, never truly speak on who I am, never really stand for what I believe in, and gain the appearance of many. Because here's the truth, and there's a reason why I say it that way. You gain the appearance of many because when it comes down to it, those people are not going to be there for you. Those people are not going to be the people that go out of their way for you, that have your back when people come against you. Those people are not the real ones that are there for you. The real ones that would say, oh, hey, you're moving, let me go help you. Or you know what I mean? Like the people that will really go out of your way for that. So I'm so thankful for 2020 because it's made it more evident and more clear to me than ever who my people are. And it's really revealed those people that just have that strong character and the loyalty and the honesty inside that I need and cultivate within my own environment. So as you seek to cultivate your community, do not seek to just create a massive community. Create a very niche community of people. And by the way, this community could just be one really good friend. You don't need many people. I do believe that we as people, that we need others around us. Like we need community. That's why I really just, I hate that 2020 has separated so many people and families and friendships. So I really do know and believe that we need people, but we don't need a lot of people. We need one or two good people that have our back. So for those of you that have been practicing this self-awareness and this brutal honesty and these healthy boundaries, and you have lost certain people in your life, I want you to know that those people probably served a certain purpose for you. I would encourage you to look at the lessons that you learned from them, from your friendship. And maybe all that friendship served for you was you realizing your worth and you really sticking up for who you are and you finally having to know your own worth enough to walk away from that friendship. Maybe that's all it was for you. Or maybe it was a friendship that did give something to you and now it's something that you've just outgrown. It's okay. Sometimes we outgrow people. Sometimes there's not even like a real reason why we are separated from people other than you served the purpose for each other's lives. Like I really do believe that every person that we come into contact with, it's for some reason, it's for some purpose. It could be something even so small. Even like I travel all the time. So even when I'm on planes and stuff and some sort of conversation sparks and it ends up going real deep, like real quick, I'm kind of in my head like, I would like to be silent right now, or I would like to just kind of stick to myself. But I'm self-aware enough to know that if I am open to it, life always has something for me, whether it's in a conversation, an interaction, a person, a podcast that I'm listening to. And so I always have that very teachable and very curious attitude. That's something that I've really cultivated in my life is the teachable and the curious, because I think if you can always stay that way, you will never stop growing. You will never stop evolving. And that's like the entire point of life. That's the entire point of why we're here, I think, is to always learn and grow into the next version of ourselves. I think that we are here on this earth for a reason, and it's not just for us, it's for the people that we are connected to. But I really do believe that our spiritual selves, that we're here to learn something, and it's up to us. It's our own personal responsibility to go through and to learn that. This morning I had my girls group. You guys remember it was actually, I believe, the first episode of Girls Talk where I had my girls group on and we discussed faith in that episode. And this morning we had a meeting and it was really cool. And what we talked about in this morning's meeting was about how you will know this, how you will really know somebody is by the fruit of their life, right? So if you look around and you look at their friendships, you look at their business, you look at how they conduct themselves, you look at the fruit of their life, the tangible and the real, then you'll really know who they are. It's not about what they say. It's not about what they preach. It's not about the facade that they put on, but it's about, do they actually have fruit in their life? And here's the thing. When you start to walk down this personal development journey, or in the context of the conversation this morning, when you start to walk down your faith journey, you have to always ask yourself, am I constantly learning, growing, and evolving? And if you're not, then you've stopped, or you've started. For example, in the context of our faith conversation this morning, we were saying how, when you seek the light and you're trying to live a life of light, there is always something that is being exposed to you. You're always being taught something. Your self-awareness goes, I didn't know that was there. Let me go ahead and work on that. Or, there's always something to be learning and growing from. So if you're not doing that, then that's very evident to the fact that you're not really on that path. So for me in my life, that's something that is a personal relationship, to God. And I ask all the time, like, what is it that you're highlighting to me right now? What is it that I'm supposed to be learning? What is it that I'm supposed to be focusing on? And there should always be this like heart posture of what's next, what's more, and what am I currently learning, what am I learning in my life right now? And how can I apply that moving forward? By having that kind of heart posture, you can really never go throughout life, quote unquote, wrong. I think people get really upset or confused when they have failures or when they have mistakes or they have hard things happen in life. And they're like, but I'm trying to do everything right. There is no right and wrong. It's like, if you have the right heart posture, if you're going throughout life the best that you can, it's just lessons. So it's like, what are you learning from the current lesson that you're in? I really encourage you guys that as you go throughout this journey of being self-aware and working on yourself, to practice a posture of observation and of non-judgment. The world is hard enough on ourselves. I don't think that we need to be harder on ourselves because of it. So really look at yourself from a sense of like just observing, observe the thoughts that go on in your head, observe the friendships that you have, the relationships that you have, observe the patterns that you currently are practicing in. A lot of what we do is unconscious. And we're always stuck in a certain pattern. And sometimes we don't realize it until we do something to interrupt that pattern. That's why something that I always really encourage people to do is to seek new opportunities and seek just a new experience. And this new experience could be something as simple as like, I don't know, switching up the coffee shop that you always go and do your work at. It could be something like trying a new class or trying a new skill. Just something different out of your routine, out of your normal zone. Talk to new people, talk to different people, ask questions, ask really good questions. All of these things will always heighten your awareness to not just to yourself, but to others in the world around you. The more that I learn, the more that I experience in my life, the more that I realize that there's just so much more. There's always so much more. And there's as much as there is new experiences, there's beautiful things that we've yet to uncover. I like to see them as like little treasures along the way, right? Like we're all on this journey and it's like the squiggly path journey. And if you're aware enough, there's like these little treasures along the way. And the more that you can collect, I kind of see it as like a game, right? So like if I'm going throughout my daily life, I see even bad instances, instead of being really upset by them, say that it's something small like traffic, and normally you'd be upset by it. Just say like, okay, -2. And then the next thing someone lets you in the lane, they pass you by, they let you through. You go, oh, that's a +2, and you see it as this game as collecting these treasures and you just see how many you can get every single day. It turns life and it turns even the hard things in life, the bad things, the things that may be annoying that you don't want to go through. It kind of turns them into this like lighthearted thing. As a very intense person, I can also be like a very type A type, personality. I used to take life so seriously, just so seriously. And I think a piece of advice I would give to my younger self is to just take a chill pill, to not judge yourself so harshly, to not take life's circumstances so harshly, because the truth is, it always changes. Like whether we want to or not, the world around us is always evolving. Even if we were to choose the option of staying the same, the world around us is always evolving. It's always growing. There's always something happening. So because of that, you can never get too consumed by your current circumstances. And I use this even in a really lighthearted sense, in the sense of like, if I'm having a bad day and I'm having negative thoughts, or maybe I'm having a sad day, and I'm just like emotional and I'm sad, I'm really in my head. This happened actually like a few weeks ago where I was really sad and I was, thinking about why I was sad, which was making me more sad. And then this awareness popped through and I was like, oh wait, a better day's right around the corner. I'm going to be fine. I will not feel like this much longer. And I was like, okay, so let me just like take a deep breath and do something to make myself feel better in this moment, which for me was distracting myself from the thoughts that I was having. I'm a firm believer of feeling whatever it is that you're feeling, feeling through that, allowing yourself to fully go there. And then once you've been in it, don't sit in it. So that's where I say get into action, get out of your thoughts, get out of your head and get into action. And for me, that's oftentimes like, if I need to, I let out a cry, do whatever I need to do. And then I'm like, okay, I get up, I get ready, I get going, I put some good music on, I go to the gym, I have all these healthy outlets, all of these healthy ways to process whatever it is that I'm handling. And, as I share these, 5 things with you guys that I think just will really help your life, ultimately what we're doing is we're just building this like toolkit for you so that as you go throughout your life, as you journey throughout 2021, which we are all so hopeful is going to be so much better than 2020. But even if it isn't, how are you going to choose to walk throughout that? You know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to talk about this, is because you are in full control of how you walk through whatever it is that life handles you or throws your way. So whatever life throws your way, it is up to you to walk through that in a certain kind of way. And you totally have the option. Like, it is your option to take if you drag your feet. That's totally one way that you could go through it. But you could also choose a different way to walk through it. And this was another point of mine, is choosing the victim or the victor mentality. Back in March, whenever all this started to happen, I made a decision right away. I said, I'm going to use this as my own personal boot camp. I am going to make sure that I come out of 2020 so much better. And so because I had intentionality behind my actions, I had that true intention of like, I will be the victor come to the end of 2020. I will not be a victim. I was able to then align my thoughts. I was then able to align my decisions, my actions with that mentality. If you just go throughout life like a pinball ball being bounced around from thing to thing, never being intentional about what you're doing, you might have that victim mentality. You might have that, first it's the lockdown, and then, next it's this horrible next situation that happened. And I could list like 20 different things. It seems like every single week throughout 2020, something new and something different happened. So if life hasn't proven to you yet that there's always going to be something, there's always going to be an excuse, there's always going to be a reason why, that should right there tell you that the time for whatever it is that you want to do is right now. There is no tomorrow. There is no next week. There is no waiting for when things are perfect. Things may never be perfect. People keep saying, I'm going to wait until after the lockdown. The lockdown was supposed to last, 10, 14 days? And now we're at the end of 2020. All in some cities, we're in new lockdowns. So if you continue to wait for the perfect time, to execute on a program that you've been wanting to do, a business that you've wanted to open, a friendship, a relationship, you've been waiting for something. What are you waiting for? There are so many people that were a part of these tragic things that happened throughout 2020 that didn't get another day. So how much longer are you going to wait? How much longer are you going to wait to start the program, to start the business, to go after, full force into this relationship that you've been wanting to do? You cannot keep waiting. If you're waiting for something that's never going to come. You have to take personal responsibility, and you have to take charge over your own life. You have to be the one that says, I am going to choose to take the pen in my hand and to write the next chapter in my life. And that's what you have to remember, that as you go throughout life, we're simply just on a certain chapter. I really feel like there's one chapter of my life that is coming to a close, and I'm so excited for that. And I know that within that, I've experienced a lot of hardship, a lot of good things as well, a lot of incredible, some of the most beautiful moments of my life. And it's so weird having that come to a close, but it's also it's this like bittersweet feeling of while it was one of the best times of my life, it was also a really hard time in my life, and I'm excited to see what's next. And when you have that kind of mentality, nothing can shake you. And that's why I, feel the need to share these things with you, because these are some realistic tools that have really helped me, like time management, making sure that you have the right mentality, the victor, not victim mentality, cultivating community, taking control of the thoughts that are in your mind, being intentional, having faith in something bigger than yourself, bigger than the world. I share these things because life is not going to be perfect. Life has never been perfect, but now more than ever has been highlighted, all of the really, hard things in life and the struggles in life. And people are going through some of the most difficult times in their life. I have people writing in saying, like, what advice would you give to somebody who literally lost it all this year? The number one piece of advice that I would say above any of the things that I just listed is get with God. And I point you to God not because it's like this random, made up concept that I believe in, but because I have a personal relationship with him. And I know for myself that there's nothing that I could ever say or do or show you or whatever. There's nothing I, Emily, could do to convince you or to show you what is actually there. But what I can do is I can direct you to God, who can do it for you. God gave me my own experience of him. And that's why it's in my Instagram bio, God is real. It's just a statement, and it's just a fact, and it's something that I want people to go explore for themselves, and I want them to experience that for themselves because it's the driving force behind everything that I do. There's a reason why I do certain things, and it's because I feel so strongly that I've been placed in certain rooms, in certain scenarios, in certain business things, because I've followed the little breadcrumbs of my faith journey and where that's taken me. So truthfully, if you've been through the hardest time in your life, I want you to know that God has a plan for you. He has a plan to prosper you. He's a plan for your future. It is something for good and not for harm. I don't know why you've gone through some of the really difficult things that you've gone through in your life, but I do know that you have two options. I know that if you choose the option to go with God, that you can turn that pain into purpose. You can turn that pain into one of the most beautiful things that you could have never even conceptualized yourself. And that without God, there is just so much pain. There's so much doom. There's so much, why is this happening to me? There's no real explanation. There's no real purpose, no real driving force, no clarity. What God offers is clarity and purpose and a steadiness and a stabilization and a happiness and a freedom that only comes with him, not separate from him. And it's not saying that all of a sudden you just live this magical, happy life. Not at all. It's very hard, and you have to lean on him. You have to learn how to trust him in hard times. You have to learn how to say, the reality of my life is that it's all on fire, but yet I'm going to choose to trust and plug in anyways. And here's the thing is, when you choose to do that in your life, the cool thing is you start to get your own experiences. So I could sit here all day long and tell you just list of reasons of, things that God has realistically done in my life, ways that he's actually, provided for me in a real way, in a tangible way, in a way that is like unexplainable, from any other sense of the word. But that wouldn't really do much for you. While I think it is encouraging to hear, and it's encouraging to know that someone has this really convicting belief that they will not shut up about, I think that's important to share, and it can be encouraging. But the one thing that will drastically change your life is you getting your own experience of that. And that's why the number one thing that I can do is just point you to what I have experienced in my own life. So I encourage you guys to seek out a real relationship with God. Don't seek out religion. Don't seek out churchy things or things that people do, like religious practices. While those things are good and they have their place, and when done with the right heart posture, I think they can be very beneficial to your life in general. There's a lot of great practices that people do. Don't search for that surface level thing. Search for the real thing, because I can promise you, it's so real to me. I wish that I could just put it on a platter and just show you like this, but I don't have to do that. God will do it for you. A lot of people ask, like, how can I actually experience this for my own life? Literally, the only thing that you have to do is get quiet, get in a room by yourself and say, God, reveal yourself to me. If what Emily is saying is true and that there is a real God who loves me individually apart from anyone else, then reveal yourself to me in a way where I will know that I know that I know. And that's what I have. I have a knowing. I don't have this random faith. I don't have a random belief. I have experience and I have a knowing. And so I pray for that experience and that knowing for every person that I come into contact with, because it's a level of love and fulfillment and stabilization. I say stabilization because this year has been so unstable. But it's just this irreplaceable thing that I wish for every single person that I come into contact with. So I have to point you there in that direction. So those are the top, I think, 5 things that I would say: consistency to a program, effective time management, the victor mentality over the victim mentality, taking control of your thoughts, cultivating community, and your faith. Now, I personally have created a program to take people through the first 90 days of 2021, and it's called Evolve X. Now, if you are able to be a part of this program, I can guarantee you without a doubt, this is going to be the best start that you have ever had to any new year. I have created this program in a way where you will not fail, no matter what. It is all one-on-one with Evolve coaches. So there's no way that you will not fail as long as you continue to show up. If you're not able to be a part of this program, listen to all of the podcasts that I've already put out. Because here's the thing, all the information that you need is out there. You just have to finally stay dedicated to a program. So if for some reason you can't do this, listen to all my podcasts, read a book every single month, commit to a fitness program, and you will be able to make drastic improvements in your life. Now, if you're considering being a part of the program, I highly recommend it. I've hired 2 incredible coaches, and you're going to be getting customized training and nutrition program with weekly check-ins. It'll be a FaceTime check-in with your Evolve coach. You guys will get a Facebook group community with everyone that's a part of the program, and you will have weekly live videos inside of that program. And then I'll be coming on monthly with a mentorship video. In addition to the fitness, the health, the nutrition, the Facebook coaching, all the stuff that you're getting, you're also getting over 12 plus hours of audio content recorded by me. This is going to be the personal development, the, lifestyle, spirituality, the mental training that you need, all right there for you in a playlist, so that you can literally play it as you work out, play it as you do things, and you'll have continual access to it, so you can always replay these. Now, I have to say, since the last time that I talked about it, I actually hooked up with a music producer, and they were able to put some music and some beats behind the audio recordings that I had for you guys. So not only is it incredible content, but it's like it puts you in this zone. And I feel like when you listen to it, you're gonna feel amazing. You're gonna feel like you can accomplish everything that you set your mind to, because truthfully, I believe that that's what's here for you. I believe that if you stick to this program, if you're a part of the health and the fitness and the personal development, you will become a version of yourself that you haven't met yet, a version of yourself that is needed, I think, for the world. I think that I've been entrusted to some of the next leaders in this world, and I have had such incredible opportunity in my life to learn from some incredible leaders, and now what I get to do is to pass that along to you guys. All of the best, everything that I have in every single area, from health to fitness to nutrition to mindset to personal development, the best of everything that I've learned to gain the mindset that I have, the confidence that I have, the faith that I have, I've put it all in one program for you. So whether you're a brand new client that's never done a program of mine, or you're a client, which I have many of you that have done every single program of mine that I've put out, this is going to be the best program. This is the ultimate, if I die, this is the program that I want the entire world to do. And you can go ahead and just take this. If I die, release this program to the world for $1 and take all the money and give it to charity of your doing, Father. But truthfully, this program, I feel like it's going to be such a big change agent for whoever decides to be a part of it. So I wanted to speak on it because as I'm talking about this is the last week and a half, I believe, that you're able to register, because we do start as a group on January 1st, 2021. If you're listening to this episode late, then just stay tuned, because after the first 90 days of the year, I may have an announcement of if I'm running it again or if it'll be available online. But I will only be taking clients for the first 90 days of the year in the last 2 weeks or so of 2020. So if you're listening to this in December 2020, go ahead and click the link down below. All the information will be there. I would love to have you. My coaches, both Amanda and Hannah, are incredible, and they're going to take such good care of you. And we together as a team are going to win. Whether or not you're a part of that program, if you are a podcast listener, you listen to every single podcast, I got you guys. I literally flew to LA just to record these podcasts back to back to make sure that I could continue showing up for you guys. Because no matter what life is throwing my way, I am choosing to show up as the best version of myself. I'm choosing to stick to my commitments, no matter how hard they are, no matter how much sleep I lose. I am choosing to stick through this because I've known that in my life, when life around me is chaotic, when life around me gets crazy, I have to continue doing the left foot, right foot. I refer to that all the time. Literally, when you're in your hardest moments, when you're listening to this and every single thing in you wants to quit, literally look down and step with your left foot, step with your right foot, and ask yourself, was that really that hard? And the truth is, oftentimes it wasn't. And if you can convince yourself, let me just do one more left foot, right foot, and you do that one more time and do it again and do it again, you'll get through all the hardest moments in your life. I mean, I'm talking from heartbreak to just a hard cardio session to whatever it is in your life. If you can just focus on what's right in front of you and execute very, very well on what's right in front of you, you will get through every single thing that life throws your way. So I'm hopeful for a great 2021. I know that it's going to be such an incredible time. I get so much fulfillment out of working with you guys, out of talking reaching to you guys even just through Instagram DM. But I'm really excited to take a few of you guys under my wing for the first 90 days. And I know that it's going to be incredible. So I want to thank you guys so much for spending your time with me today. I know that your time is very precious. I have some incredible interviews coming next. If you guys missed the last interview, it was one of the most exciting interviews that I've done. I interviewed Andy Frisella. I'm so thankful for his time. He's been one of the top requested interviews. So go back, listen to that one, and come for the next one. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Thanks so much.